Everyone, it's KarQ here. Every month, we take the top questions from the OverwatchUniversity subreddit and we answer them. This is Overwatch support with KarQ. Okay, first question is, why do people insist on leaving the point immediately after capturing it, almost causing a loss? Let me elaborate a little bit here. We win the first team battle, capture the point. Instead of staying as a group and holding the point, the tank heads towards their spawn. One support will follow the tank. The two DPS goes to flank, and this leaves me, the other support, alone on the point. Inevitably, I either die because one DPS comes to claim the point, or my teammates die. This leads to us spawning staggered. Their team claims the point. I spend the rest of the match spamming group up while I watch my teammates run in 1v5 over and over again. What is so difficult about staying in a group and defending the point? There seems to be an update, but I'm gonna answer this in my way. The reason why people leave the point is this is actually the correct play. You want to take space in Overwatch 2. It's less about always all five of you standing on the point. You can have one person, if you win a team fight, let's say King's Row on offense, and you can leave you as the one support capturing the point, and the other four people want to take space ahead of you and funnel them into a choke as best as possible. If all of you stay on the point and you group up as five, you're just asking yourselves to have the enemy team come back in and fire all their AoE at you, and then you die, and then you'll probably lose the point anyway. So this is actually the correct play, especially even after you capture it and you want to stagger their kills. You run into their spawn, so if you can get the kill in King's Row where they come out of tunnel, if you kill them afterwards, then they get sent to the third spawn, and then you get a lot of free payload push. So that is the correct mindset to think about in Overwatch 2. Don't be afraid to take space. And then when you get into the second point of King's Row, as the payload's wrapping the corner, your tank is ahead, making sure they can keep an eye on where they're all coming from, ping them, see where they're going. Don't allow them to get into all these different flank angles on King's Row. They can come over the top here, where the mega health pack is. They can come over to the far flank side. Your tank is your eyes, and they're keeping them there. Your DPSs are getting into good angles to just funnel them in, DPS them as they come out, and keep the pressure. How do you evict Junkrat from a strong hole? What? Okay, let me read this. I was playing a game as Echo, and my team was usually getting the first pick in every team fight until a Junkrat got into an extremely strong rat hole, and it completely shut me down. If I ignored him and went around to fight his team, he would destroy my supports from behind and we'd lose the team fight. And if I contested him, he would run to the other side of the narrow hallway. It was impossible to fight him without dying. I didn't have my ult to push him out because I used it before the fight, and it didn't get back to me in time. So besides Junkrat, who can contest an indoors Junkrat rat hole? Oh, so a rat hole is basically a small indoor corridor. Well, the biggest thing to do against a Junkrat is to not play to his strengths. You can have your supports play a little further back, or a way where you have to recognize where the Junkrat's playing. A lot of the strength where Junkrat comes from now is actually the whole flank rat and the element of surprise. If the element of surprise is gone, he's not as powerful as he once was. For example, I'm going to use King's Row, super easy. A lot of Junkrats like to play in the hotel when you're attacking, and you try to go onto the point, then your supports get randomly flanked by the hotel Junkrat. People need to have object permanence. If you know the Junkrat's playing there, the next time around, just anticipate that he's there, help your team cross and get away from that area, and then kind of ignore him or play away from his strengths, which is a rat hole. You could play heroes like Pharah, Echo. Those are pretty good. And don't get into that one-shot combo. If you get closer to him, the easier it is for him to do the primary into the mine combo. Junkrat's biggest weakness is range and space. And recognize where he is, ping him out. Just like any other hero. Just like a Tracer who's flanking, now that flank rat is popular, awareness is everything. KarQ, why is Winston meta in Asia while being average in NA? Title says it all. Okay, so the reason why I think Winston is meta in Asia is because I actually think Asian Overwatch players, Koreans, Chinese players, they really love coordinated dive. So Winston, ball players, even Doomfist. I actually think, this is not like a shade to like NA or EU, I play on NA. I really think like there's a bit more cohesion and teamwork in Asian culture. People are more inherently able to work together, unlike EU ladder or NA ladder, where everybody's very selfish, a selfish kind of culture. If anybody from NA and EU can confirm, I think EU players always say, yeah, people just leave voice, they just always flame you and all that stuff. NA, not as bad, but kind of similar in nature. But if you think about like, I don't know, Japanese culture and Korean culture, it's very like others first over myself. Even in like stuff like relationships, this is getting a really like what's that word? anthropology or sociology, but like, you know, in like Korean and Asian culture, when you like find a partner, it's less about like you two versus the world. It's like they actually have to think about what their parents think, what their friends think. It's very others first over me. I'm totally like just spitting off the top. This could totally be false. I believe that Winston is meta because Winston dive is very target prioritization focused and target focused and teamwork oriented. It's a strong comp if people work together. But Winston and Dive, if there's no coordination and people aren't working together, it's kind of meh, which is why players will play more selfish heroes in NA and EU, like Roadhog. Orisa requires a little bit more teamwork, but heroes that are able to be self-sustaining and a bit more selfish will dominate in these regions, while Winston will be meta in Asia for those reasons. Why does Junkrat become strong again in GM? Junkrat is one of those heroes with a strange effectiveness versus rank graph. He's super effective in low ranks, however in Diamond and Masters he seems awful. Punish more. Okay, so here's my take on why I think Junkrat is strong, or he's like stronger in low ranks, kind of meh in Diamond and Masters, and stronger in GM. I think in low ranks, spam rat is a very common play. Like there's less awareness, so people are able to spam and get random kills. So if people find it annoying to play against Junkrat there. And then in Diamond and Masters, the whole sit there AFK and just spam is kind of like a bad sort of play style because it's very one-dimensional and easy to kind of like play around. So then he loses effectiveness there. This is not always in the case. There's probably some Diamond and Masters Junkrat players that are playing really well there. And probably in GM, the good Junkrat players know that's not the optimal play style. They play to their advantages. They go for sneaky one-shot plays in the back lines, sneaky tires. They know how to play it correctly. So I think there's like that variance in the low ranks. For that playstyle, it works. It stops working in Diamond and Masters, and then the high-level Junkrats adjust. How to counter Ramattra's ultimate. Roadhog ultimate. Roadhog's ult is one of the best knockbacks to Ramattra. That's why Ramattra was good, but like with Roadhog being so meta back then, Ramattra was like, and then Orisa plays well into Roadhog. So then Orisa was meta because if they played Ramattra, you play Roadhog. If they play Roadhog, you swap to Orisa. And then eventually the Roadhog, if he's getting dominated, will just go Orisa versus Orisa if he's not going for those picks. But this is from 18 days ago. But right now, Ramattra's ultimate is really strong. I think they should take a look at it because he's like super fast. You have to disengage with Lucio, or you play Roadhog and blast him away when he's ulting. Or you play Ana and sleep him. That one's a little bit harder. The Roadhog ultimate is consistent, easy. You save it for it. The sleep dart depends on your Ana player. The Lucio really depends on the player as well if he's ready and if your team is ready to disengage. So Ramattra's ult is actually really powerful. I think right now with the Roadhog nerf, Orisa's still good. Like you can spear him away. It's not too hard to hit. But Ramattra is the next tank up. If they nerf Orisa a little more and they don't touch Ramattra, Ramattra is probably the best tank in the game. This is kind of a dumb question. I'm new to Overwatch, playing for a month, and I'm trying to learn what diff means, what is pocket. This is a big thing. This person kind of explained it all. We should just like pause the video on screen. You can read these on your own time. I'm not gonna read it out loud, but this is good. This is good for new players. Someone please tell me how to fight Genji. A couple of heroes that play well into Genji are in the tanks. Honestly, all tanks are like not bad against Genji, maybe except Reinhardt. Most tanks have so much armor and health that like Genji usually doesn't go for the tanks. And he also doesn't build blade very quick. Genji's usually going for the DPSs or the support. So I'm gonna give you some DPS and support counters. DPSs would be someone like Torbjorn, super annoying. Honestly, fighting Cassidy up close is pretty annoying as Genji right now. You just get stuck for free. Like you could just bait out the deflect. Symmetra is super annoying as well. If Symmetra plays set up near a bunch of her turrets. Chat was saying Mei is a good one as well because you can ice fire or ice beam through the deflect and it'll keep doing damage. Any sort of beam hero like that. And in terms of supports, believe it or not, it's Moira. Moira is actually so strong against it. Baptiste is also pretty good as a bat player. You have regen burst. When you get low, you have a lamp and you just shoot him until he runs away. Ana is a bit skill dependent. It really depends. If you have no cooldowns on Ana, you're probably dead. But if you have sleep dart and nade, it's hard to hit the sleep, so we won't talk about that. But you can nade him through the deflect by just splashing in front of him. That one's a bit more of a skill matchup. And then the other supports, you kind of ignore him. Like Lucio. Lucio is kind of annoying for Genji. He's so slippery. You just boop him and you just annoy him. Lucio doesn't have kill potential, but like Genji will have a hard time trying to kill you. Kiriko, you kind of just run away as Kiriko. You Suzu, you can try to get the headshots, but then afterwards if you don't hit those headshots, you could just dip. You can take the 1v1 until you're missing everything and he gets you low and you have no cooldowns. Just TP out. Another support that I guess would be good to fight Genji. Brig is pretty annoying. You have 300 HP shield now. You just hold it, wait for an open opportunity, and just boop him away. The kill potential or the kill potential isn't there, but you can just fight him off and distract him. That's fine. And those are a few options on how to fight Genji. Should I stop one-tricking if the game isn't punishing me for it? There's a simple, obvious answer of yes, I should learn other heroes. I mean, technically, no, you don't have to. Like, I've always said this, there's at least a one trick of every hero that's made it into top 500. It's annoying. I'm not going to talk about how annoying it is to play with the one trick who isn't adjusting or adapting to the game at hand and the variables that are present. If they're playing like a pure counter comp to you, you'll probably lose the game and teammates are going to flame you. But I'm going to be completely honest. You can one trick and get into the highest rank in the game. So if you're really good at the hero, you're really good at the hero. Sometimes it's at a point where like I'm annoyed that they're on my team, but like if they play any other hero, their skill level isn't good enough on that hero that I'd just rather have them on their one trick, and they can find a way to make it work. Not using voice chat as throwing? No, just use the ping system. How do you succeed as Winston? You were bronze. Okay, so with Winston, it's less about killing somebody and more about taking space, cutting sight lines with your bubble, cutting the healer sight lines. As a KarQ or Ana, it is the most annoying thing in the world. The bubble is in between you and the person you want to heal and target. As Winston, you do not sit there and zap the other tank. You are losing value. That's how you don't succeed as Winston. You succeed as Winston by being able to jump in and jump out, and you have 5 seconds after you leap in to survive. You better be jumping in a place where you can live for 5 seconds so you can jump out as needed, or continue jumping if your other dive heroes are coordinating with you. Do not zap the Orisa. Do not sit there and zap the Reinhardt. Go for higher value targets. Why is Moira considered bad by people in high ranks? I would actually say Moira is not considered bad. She's just not popular because she isn't fun. Her skill ceiling is kind of capped out by like maybe like doing cool fade jumps. But other than that, you just sit there like this with your beam, or sorry, with your suck. I just think she's boring, but she's not bad by any means. There's a couple of top Moira players. There's actually a few of them because she can get a lot of value. And also she doesn't have as much utility. So like you get value by like being able to flank and pressure the backline. You don't get like a Suzu. You don't have an anti-nade. You don't have Discord Orb. You just either do damage or you just heal with damage orb or heal orb. So yeah, she's not bad by any means. You could totally play Moira at the high ranks. Okay, so those were the couple of the top questions. I'm gonna rapid fire a few new ones, and that will be it for today's video. New from the past, let's take it from the past week. Or no, let's go top of the week. What exactly is Cassidy's playstyle slash positioning in this game? Cassidy's playstyle is actually not challenging long range because his fall off damage is extremely bad right now. It really is to protect against flankers still, despite what people say, because that sticky grenade is great for getting rid of pesky tracers or Genjis who are diving. That's why dive isn't as popular right now as well. Cassidy is quite tanky with 225 HP. You kind of just play in the mid range. That's it. You excel, you press your advantage. You want to fight people within your fall off range. I believe it's 20 meters before the damage really starts ramping down. So I generally don't like seeing Cassidy's on like first point Junkrat town, for example, to challenge the Widow in the back, all the way in the back. You just can't. You play around cover, you annoy like the squishy heroes with the magnetic grenade. You want to get close enough to do that, medium to close range. That's his playstyle. KarQ's ultimate placement slash timing. What is the best way to use it? You want to use it in a way where your team can get value. You want to, right before you round a corner of a choke, you go for it. For example, King's Row. We just captured first point. You don't want to use it right away. If you're getting funneled and stuck there, you can just use it. But if your team has the space, you want to do it wrapped around a corner where your team can follow. If you don't want to use it too far back, where your team will completely walk out of it right away, it's okay if your tanks do walk out of it, because you as a KarQ can still sit in it and you heal way quicker because of the attack speed buff. But generally speaking, the placement should be around a choke point or in a really tight choke. Now for timing, it's honestly better to just use it than to hold on to it. This is not even just a KarQ thing. This is an Overwatch ultimate usage thing, where I've always tell players, just use your ult. Don't save it for Overwatch 3, because that means you're never going to use it till like 2033. Just use it, because if you use it and it was bad, at least you learned that it was bad in that moment. If you just hold on to it, you just don't collect the data in your head to know when it's a good time to use it or not. To jump or not to jump? It depends. You can air strafe, when you jump. You come from Destiny 2, advantageous to jump when dueling. Generally speaking, in a 1v1, jumping is a loss because like if you jump, you're in a lot more predictable parabolic arc. For the most part, if you're jumping, it's to like kind of like dodge something, or if you do jump, do not jump while holding one direction. You can jump and do a little like left, right in the air to manipulate your hitbox just a little bit. But jumping predictably is a big no-no in this game. It's a habit that a lot of people get into, unfortunately. Balancing not wasting ult versus hoarding ult. Well, this is just more of a just use it. Don't worry so much about wasting. Learning how to waste your ult comes from practice of using it incorrectly. As long as you're actively thinking about why it was good and wasn't good, it's better than hoarding it. Because again, you just don't learn if you hoard your ultimate and you try to wait for the perfect opportunity. Sometimes you don't even know what the perfect opportunity is, especially if you're silver. You'll get closer to learning what a good opportunity, but you won't have too much like perfect opportunities. As long as it's not a blunder where like you held it and you got no value and you lost a team fight, it's fine. Just use it. Also, people in lower ranks and metal ranks have terrible ultimate economy. Don't worry about stacking 3 or 4 ultimates and overusing it. It's better to win the team fight than the people that just passively never use it and they just don't win team fights, period. Plus, if you use it, you can start building your second one faster. Some people hoard their ultimate in that time where if they at least used it earlier, they would have built a second one in that same period of time because they held it for 4 minutes. Final question, what role in your opinion has the most impact on the match and carry potential? Tank. Simple as that. Tank. Biggest HP pool, the most impactful because of the space they take, and they have the most CC in the game now, right? Because they removed CC from like May. The Sombra's not that long. Sombra hack does not that long. Cassie's flashbang, May freeze, a couple of things like that. They got rid of that, so all the tanks have most of the stuns now, right? Orisa Spear, Sigma Rock, Roadhog Hook, Reinhardt Pin, Zarya Grab. They have the most game-changing ultimates in my opinion. So the tank role is the most impactful. Secondary most impactful is probably the DPS right now, and the third is support. You're not gonna make as many impactful plays as support, unless you're using your ultimates, of course, which is the reason why KarQ is so strong, because her ultimate is the most impactful ultimate in that role right now. Nano Boost is good too, of course, but it's a single target for Nano. Baptiste window is pretty good, but a lot of Baps end up using it for themselves, which is the correct way to do it. That's why KarQ, Kitsune Rush, everybody gets too many buffs. That part needs to be addressed. But in any case, that's not the question. Tank, DPS, support. And cool. That was KarQ, or that was me answering Overwatch University's questions. Let me know if you have any more in the comments. See you later.